You are now watching a Lucky Penny Shop product feature.
Hey, it's Lucky Penny Shop. It's a puzzle time with a collection of puzzles. I actually have two different collections of puzzles that I've gotten over the years. This is a newer collection that someone gave me, and I said, yeah, I'll take them. I want to check them out. But what happened was, here's exactly what happened. I had all these in a bin, and they were stored on their side, kind of like this. And then this happened, and then two or three of the puzzles opened, and then I ended up with mixed pieces of puzzles. So I had to go through puzzle by puzzle to make sure I had the right amount of pieces, and then that they were actually complete. Because anytime I get a puzzle from somebody, I want to know if it's complete. So I quandered on that for a while, and I bought this really cool puzzle board, and I'll show that later in the video. We'll check that out. And then I thought, well, let me start building some of these, and I'll see if pieces have crossed over. I mean, look at them. You don't know which pieces from which set. So I've put little sticky tabs on all of them, which I built, which I haven't built. So let me move this glorious pile out of the way, and then I'll come in and show each one. And then if I built it, I'll put a picture up so you could see it. And then I'll just explain the puzzles and the pieces, because it says 1,000-piece puzzle. Well, guess what? 99% of these are 999 pieces. They're not 1,000 pieces. Most puzzles, the number you see on the box is not the number of pieces, just so you know. It's kind of like an industry standard to round it up or round it down to an even-looking number, because if it said 999 pieces, people would say, oh, what's that? Are they missing a piece? Because everybody's so used to 1,000-piece puzzles. And one of these in here is actually a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I'll explain that to you. So let me move this out of the way. All right, so this one was called Pop Culture, and it is a White Mountain puzzle, 1,000 pieces, and this one is actually 999. Now, how do I know it's 999? I go by my little chart here. I've got this little chart that I started creating based on the puzzle. Let's see, that was called Pop Culture. Pop Culture. 1,000 pieces on the box, 999. There's 37 pieces horizontal and 27 pieces vertical. So you multiply that times that, you get 999, because the puzzles are cut in such a way that they're even rows and even columns. So that's how you can do that. It says free puzzle box stand inside, which is kind of nice. We use that when we're building these puzzles. Now, I didn't build these alone. This is a conglomerate of people, but let's just check out the pieces. Let's see, is the little puzzle thing in here, the little stand? One or two of them didn't have it. Okay, this just has the sheet, and there's the stand. Okay, let's just dump some into this. And then all puzzles have like a different feel to them. These are different than the Ravensburger and then the other puzzles that I've done. Okay, here's your little stand. So you take this like this. Okay, let's empty these back out. And then you take your puzzle box. Let's tilt this up a little so you can see it. So when you're building your puzzle, you have this. You take this like this. And then it sits on the stand like that right next to you as you're building them, so you can definitely see what you're doing. So let's take a closer look at this one. This one was fun to build. There's a lot in here. And I don't want to say these puzzles are easy. I got to the point where, well, we got to the point. It was a group effort. We were able to do a 1,000-piece puzzle on and off in about 6 hours is what it took us. Sometimes it took days because you walked away, you were doing something else. So this one's got creepy crawlers. Here, let me change the... a lot of this I've shown on video, by the way. So you've got creepy crawlers, Frankenstein, The Simpsons, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Woodstock, a Schwinn Stingray. You got Pez, MTV, Twister right in the middle, Star Trek, The Monkees, Mad Magazine. This is a comic strip down here. You got Popsicles, The Fonz, The Slinky, Madhouse, Hot Wheels. So it's kind of fun to build. And you knew when you had this color, you isolate that color and you're able to build off. But we usually build the edges first and then work our way around. What else do you have? You have McDonald's there, Cabbage Patch, something called Groovy. I'm not sure what Groovy is. It's a musician there, so he's jamming. Pop Culture is the title of this puzzle. You have Wendy's. Other cool stuff. So that's that one. But let's take a quick look at the pieces for this one so you can kind of get a feel. Not all puzzles have the same design to the pieces. This one has some odd looking pieces. And you will see as I show you more puzzles what I mean. So we basically would just organize the borders and then start sorting the pieces. And that one's actually together. And then these have overlap like this, okay? So there's a little edge there that would fit another piece. So they're not perfectly set, but I think you know what I mean. So that's kind of a standard piece. You've got pieces like this. And I'm showing you this because there's other puzzles that only have 1 or 2 shapes, maybe 3 shapes. This is an edge. Then you have one with the 2. I don't know what the correct terminology is for that. I'm not a puzzle expert, and this is just information that I've gathered for what I have. As I get more puzzles from different manufacturers, then I can add to my sheet. Because it helps people who are trying to sell them. Maybe you got a puzzle from the thrift store and you're wondering how many pieces are in that. You don't know till you build the edge. And that takes time too. So that's the kind of pieces here. And it's got this gray background. And the white mounds have this little lip. And there's a lot of times there's a little fraying going on. So if the puzzles had pieces that were lifted, I would glue them down. So that's not as smooth on the back as, say, a Ravensburger. And that's kind of what these pieces look like. That's a good mix of the pieces. All right, you got that one, which is 3 openings. You got this one, which has 3. Then you have your standard pieces like these with openings on the side and top and bottom pieces. Then you have the quads. We would always come up with funny names. Here's a triple. Here's a quadruple. We call that. Do you have a quadruple? And at some point when we're organizing, we put all the similar ones that are the same shape. Because when you're building the puzzle and you know you need a quadruple, then you just look in those to kind of help you finish that puzzle. So I won't have to go over the puzzle pieces for the rest of these, but we can definitely go over the covers and show you those. And there's just something about having puzzle pieces in a box where you're just like, ooh, that's so cool. What does that sound? And now these are the larger pieces, and they still fit on my puzzle board. Again, I'll show you that later. It's actually a 1,500 piece puzzle board, and I'll give you the measurement on that, but the 1,000 piece puzzles fit with no problem. That's why I got it. All right, let's move on to the next cover. So this one here was not built, but the edge was built. So that's how I knew the exact, just to verify, and then counted the pieces to make sure no extra pieces, because some of these get mixed up. But this is all cereal boxes. I really like this one. I probably should have built this one. You've got Golden Grams, Cocoa Puffs, Trix, Honey Burst Cheerios, or Cherry Burst Cheerios, Count Chocula, Lucky Charms, Cookie Crisp, Kix, Corn Chex, Corn Chicks, or Corn Kicks, Basic 4. Down here you have Berry Lucky Charms, French Toast Crunch, Cheerios, Frankenberry, Fruit Yummy Mummy, I believe that is, Total, and then Fruit Brute, Cocoa Puffs, Fiber One, Trix, Count Chocula, Honey Nut Cheerios, Fruity Yummy Mummy, Wheaties, Boo Berry, Kix, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And there's little characters that they place in and around to kind of throw you off. You got the Trix Rabbit right there, and then you have the Ghost. And then you have, oh, that's the Boo Berry Ghost. And then Count Chocula's down there. And that kind of adds a little twist when you're trying to match pieces. Now, these puzzles with the words, to me, are easier because you can just find the Honey Nut Cheerios and kind of fit those words in there and match them up to the box top. A lot of times you take the box top and you hold the piece and say, where is that piece? All right, let's check out the next one. Okay, this one is complete, $9.99. And it's the ice cream bars. Again, the larger pieces. I'll just show them real quick. They are the same. Had the card in there that you can use. There's also sometimes a little flyer on the bottom, some of these, that showed you more puzzles. Same style pieces, cut from the same die. You got to imagine they have the dies, which are probably expensive and intricate to make. So they would put the image on there, cut them, cut them, cut them. And you don't want to just keep changing dies for every puzzle, so it's the same die. So we have Riches. I've never heard of some of these. Flet's Farm Fresh Bar, Pendleton's, Juicer or Twitch or something like that. I can't even read it. Chillaroo, Popsicles, Hoodsy, Beetle Bars, Borden's Ice Cream Bar. I don't know what that one is in the upper right corner. The Monkey Bar, the Fudgesicle, the Delicious Creamsicle, and then you have the Ice Cream Sandwich Bar, the Pecan Crunch, Popsicle, Peanut Butter Bars, Deluxe. I'm glad I didn't build this one because You want to have ice cream as you're building it. And that was one of the rules. No drinks around the puzzles. Or no food. We don't want any sticky, oily hands handling the puzzle pieces. Hokey Pokey, Happy Days, Mr. Big. I can't read this one. They covered it up, so I don't know what it is. Ice Cream Klondike. The Fab Something, Zoom. Eskimo Pie, Fudge Pie. I've had that. Orange Ice Cream, the Fudgesicle. The Fortunello. Fudge Pie. Husky, Deluxe, Tempty Pop. Jaws, 2-in-1, Happy Days Fudge Bar, Orbit Bar, Slam Bang Vanilla, Polar Brand, Polar Twins, Banana Fudgesicle, ooh, those are good, Cool Berry, Ice Cream Bar, Twin Pops, Newlyweds. A lot of these I've never heard of. The Howdy Doody Fudge Bar, no, some of these are older. But still a fun puzzle to build. And I think the backs are pretty much the same. Most of these puzzles, because they all came from around the same year, so they used the same inner box. Well, that one was not right. I usually set them the correct way. It should have been this way, so I turned it and you would have seen it better. All right, so if they're built, then I'll put a picture of the ones that I built. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this was the anomaly in all these puzzles. I don't know why. I have to look at the years. I don't think I put the years on my sheet, but this one was actually 1,000 pieces. Now, it was 37 by 27, the 37 on the top and 27 on both sides, but the bottom row had 38. So that threw my numbers off. So I think I got to build it. And I figured it out. Where there was one piece of puzzle, they put two. I can show you a picture of that. All right, go look at the picture. You'll see what I'm saying. So other than that, the puzzle was complete, and it was weird. Don't know if they throw in any other ones like that with a different die set. This has got Betty Crocker mashed potatoes, creamy deluxe party frosting, chip and noodle, hamburger helper soup, never seen that, enriched flour by Gold Medal, bake-a-bar, cinnamon streusel, fruit start. I don't know what this is. I hope you try the new Betty Crocker brownie mix. I hope. Hostess cookbook. Rice pudding, the junior baking kit. I think I've actually shown some of those. Gold Medal flour. Muggo lunch soft sundae. No idea. Perlos. I don't know what this. I can't even. It looks like little bacon bits. I'm not sure. And then Baco's right there. And they have the word Betty Crocker right in the middle. They've got a spoon and a spatula floating through the middle. Yeah, you have Baco's, Onios, and Sasos. Ginger cake. This is some kind of handiest snack mix set. I don't know. It looks like nuts and stuff that you would put on salads. Soft sundae. The answer cake. Is that what that says? Cherry fluff. Their coupon catalog. Snack and cake. Ginger cake. Count Chocula and blueberry cookie mix. Muggo lunch. Super moist ice cream cake mix. Toast witches. Chicken helper. Snack and cake, the new kind of cake, I don't know, fruit gelatin, Incredibites, and then the yellow cake mix for Betty Crocker, and then that was a soft sundae from Muggle Lunch. Said that already. Let's just double check the back. I think it's going upside down again. It's a little bit different back on this one, but it shows you all of their puzzles in this particular 1,000-piece puzzle collection. Let's just fix it now. It also has that little card for holding up your box in there somewhere. Same style pieces, but the backs on these are a different color, so they do use different paper. And it looks like this one is punched different. Let me grab another one here. It's a different back, and it's also cleaner cut. There's another color. So this has got like a light purple, grayish. And what was the first one? I have to be careful here. I don't want to mix pieces now. And then this one was the one that was a little oddity. The pieces aren't cut as nice. It looks like a different quality paper, and then you get the ridge on the back of them. Okay, be careful. I don't want to do what I did. and mix them up again. Okay, let's see. This one says built and complete. This one is called Things I Ate as a Kid. Ooh, let me get that sticker back on the one that was complete. So you will see a picture of this one at some point. I'll just put it up. This has got gums. It's got blackjack gum, clove gum, Beeman's chewing gum, this snack gum, Bugles. I didn't know that was a gum, and it's just kind of in there. And then Wrigley Spearmint. You've got popsicles, Minute tapioca, Fritos, Chuckles. When I was building this, I said Chuckles. I made a Chuckles video. I got Chuckles on my knuckles. I just remember that I stuck the Chuckles to my knuckles. Toast 'em Pops, Tang, Cracker Jack, Hostess Fruit Pies, Orbits, and then the Double Dogs, never had those, Popco, Moon Pies, Animal Crackers, Tasty Cakes, Butterscotch Crimpets, macaroni and cheese is snuck inside there, Bologna, or Bologna as we all say it, Scooter Pie, Chef Boyardee, Bubble Up Cola, Nickel Nips are right in there and you can see them, spaghetti and meatballs, they have a hamburger from Burger Chef with a cup, Cheez-Its, Ovaltine's on top of the Cheez-Its, a glass of milk, and an Oreo cookie is on top of the Wonder Bread. Then you got Jif, Hawaiian Punch, Step Up to a Slim Jim, Campbell's, Beans and Sliced Franks, Fiddle Faddle, Bazooka, Jell-O, Kool-Aid, Royal Pie Filling, Captain Crunch, that's it, and then Chip Chipperoos, made in the USA. They have a floating sandwich, a bologna sandwich, and a tray of macaroni and cheese, and then a hot dog and a sundae floating there, and there's a big piece of pizza. So that does make it more challenging when they add all that other stuff in there. Let's slide that one over. Okay, this one was just counted. It's called Candy Wrappers. Let's check the back. Oh, I put these on all the wrong way. Yep, this one does look kind of like a repeat. I kind of remember that. And there's the cereal one. Alright, so what do we have on this one? Well, let's look at the pieces, see what color. Okay, so this is the lighter gray, but they're not cut funny. And they don't have that ridge on the back. Now that could mean a lot of things. They can only probably cut so many puzzles before the dies either be replaced or sharpened or what they do, I don't know. Now at some point you might get pieces that are stuck together, not completely cut. That's probably why. M&M's, Black Crows, those are good. Tootsie Rolls, Junior Mints, Andes, Tootsie Roll, Planters, Jumbo Block Peanut Candy, Bonkers, the Sky Bar, Tootsie Pops. This is Tasty Nut, Snow Pan, something. I can't. BB Bats, something Alico. I don't know that one. Razzles, Plop, Bubblegum. Right? What's that saying? It says Double Bubble, sorry. Butternut, Sugar Babies, Snickers. They got some candy corns on top of the graphic. Salted Nuts, Roll, those are good. Snickers, Neckos, Zero, Bazooka, Pop Rocks, Jujubes, Charleston Chew, Sweet Marie, Sugar Mama. And if I miss any of these, I do apologize. I don't know. This is Blank and Nip, so it's kind of 10 and Nip. I've never seen those. Clark, Cracker Jack again, Dots, Powerhouse, Malted Milk, Coconut Bar, Candy Dogs, Mary Jane, Three Chubbies, Our Sweets Candy, don't know what that is, Twin Cinnamello, A to Z, I don't know what, Time Bomb, I think that's what it says, Fizzy Lizzy, Rich Crisp, Mallow Cup, Cotton Candy Mike and Ike's, another Jujubes, Marathon Bar, Curly Whirly, Sugar Daddies, Mr. Melons, and Zero. I got most of them. Oh, and Pop Rocks. Oh, and Cadbury. Did I say that? I don't know. All right, let's get the last one here. Now, the last one is the only one that was sealed, so I did not open this one up, but let's look at the back. Well, now that I've shown all the backs, you can compare them and say, oh, that was the same as that one, and that was the same as the other one. So I have no idea what's in this one. The color pieces, that is. It is the larger pieces. So I Love America says all things America. You got a hot dog, a baseball, the melting pot, an apple pie, and cookies, a hockey puck, a penny. Ooh, there's a penny. 2005, by the way. All over the graphics, you have Rocky Mountain, Time, Nashville, Tennessee, First Man on the Moon, the dollar bill, Wheel of Fortune, the famous farmer portrait where they're holding their rakes and shovels, I think, Oven Fresh Pizza, Mount Rushmore, Broadway, New York, Bourbon Street. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. And this says Cape Cod, America, American Muscle Cars, NASA, Disney World, Moon Pies, Play-Doh, another coin there in the back of the penny. I don't know. It's got the buffalo on the back. And then a little lighthouse, apple pie. They show an apple pie. Uncle Sam, the Liberty Bell, a basketball, Grand Canyon, Mr. Potato Head. And then it's got a sign that says Key West, Chicago, Vegas. And then Budweiser. And then an eagle. And some cows up by Ben and Jerry's. Welcome to Las Vegas. That's an interesting one. Didn't take it out of the box because I figured it's sealed. We'll leave it sealed. All right, let's move on now to the 1,000-piece Ravensburger. Okay, this is the only one that is in this small box. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle, premium puzzle, soft click technology, and it's not Ravensburger, it's Ravensburger. I was corrected maybe 9 years ago. Let me take that off, from 2017. And it's your cupboard. I think that's what it's called. China cupboard. Let's take a look at the back. Now, all their boxes have a similar back. That I know. And let's look at the pieces. Okay, so I bag up the pieces. That's one way to make sure the box doesn't slip open and pieces don't. So I do like their pieces. They do have a nice feel to them. They're a little smaller. Here, let's compare. We'll take one of these. And then the giant piece. I'll be careful. It's hard to mix these up, but you can. They're close. So they're not too far off. These are a little bit bigger. And you still get that nice puzzle sound when you're moving the pieces around. I have to be careful. I don't want to lose pieces. It took 3 to 4 weeks to get through all 20-some puzzles. Now, all the Ravensburgers going forward, I bought from one garage sale about 5 or 6 years ago. There was a whole bunch. And I remember paying $30 for all of them. And there's at least 25 puzzles. Now, I asked him, do you know if they're complete? And he had no idea. All right, well, let's move on, and I'll tell you a little bit more, and we'll show you more. All right, I'll show you the back on this one, but it's a little different. It could be the year, too. This one is from 2008. So these are older puzzles. And then I write the puzzle number, and then it's the Christmas limited edition. So it's got a snow scene with Santa ice skating and a bunch of kids ice skating and parents around the little fair, and there's buildings in the background. Original Ravensburger quality. Now you'll see I put a note here. Faded pieces. There was some issue with the backs of some of these, and it was really strange. And only on some. Let's see if I can isolate some for you. Well, let's just put some in here. Like this. It's got a weird little faded, so I don't know if someone spilled something. There was some color variances on the backs. Here's one that's really colored variants. I don't know what that is, if it was part of the process. Couldn't figure it out, but it was complete. So let's put those back in there. And then let's move on to the next one. So I try to keep the air out. I'll push it so far, and then I'll push it down. So that's the same size piece, same number of pieces, but the box, compared to that first box, is completely different. Look, same puzzle, same number of pieces, completely different packaging. All right? Now these, I could go through these pretty quick here. Vintage games. I did not build this one. I looked at this one and I said, oh boy. And these are all old board games, card games. There's got to be some other jacks. This is I don't know what that is. It's not backgammon. I don't know a lot of this. There's dice, dominoes. This one is complete. It has box issues. There's a hole in the top. Not in the best of shape. So what I think this couple did, they bought these probably... Oh yeah, he said she worked at either Salvation or Goodwill, one of those two. So she would just grab puzzles that she liked, usually all Ravensburger, and that was the collection. And they were on just a table at the end of the driveway. And he had been there for a while, and I said, do you know if they're complete? He said no. I said, well, how much do you want for all of them? And he said $30. I said, okay. 2014, and knowing they're not complete or not, it's a risk. Someone has to take the risk. I took a risk. Streets of France. I did not build this one. Let's just look at the back real quick. Okay, so this is the one that matches that smaller box. Well, I thought I had all these the wrong way. It is the right way. So, very intricate. It would be difficult to build this bottom section with all the streets till you find the feet and the bike, and you'd have to put it all together. It says Cafe, Chesmimi, Moulin Rouge, Galerie, Latte. Didn't build it. I counted it because I know all the Robinsburger puzzles. There was no variances. Oh, my sheet just got ruined. All the 1,000-piece puzzles for Ravensburger are 36 on the bottom top edges, 28 on the sides. That's 1,008 pieces. All the 1,500-piece puzzles are 1,530 pieces. They're 45 by 34. And then all the 2,000-piece puzzles are actually 2,000 pieces. They're 50 by 40. So that one, those are pretty accurate. So they were easy to count and understand. All right, I probably should move quicker. This is another limited edition from 2015, New York City Christmas. And there's a huge Christmas tree, buildings in the backdrop, and then a huge ice skating rink with all kinds of people skating. I wanted to build this one, but just when I looked at the pieces, now this is a vertical puzzle, so it's the same 1,000 pieces. They just turned the graphic a different way. And I'm pretty sure the pieces are the same. Yep. Look at that. There's so many pieces of the same design. Did not do this one. Back is the same. What was the title? Oh, African Artifacts. And it says wood finish pieces. And yeah, they have that wood finish to them. I don't think it's a texture, but let's see. Yeah, they do have little ridges. So they're not flat. That's pretty cool. So that's a different feel. As you're building a puzzle, I don't know what you do, but you're taking your hand, and when you get to a point, you kind of feel it, push the pieces down, make sure everything's sitting right. All right. This one, I refuse to do. 2017, Bottle Cap Hills, tape on the box. So here's where some tape is on all four sides. This just looked too difficult for me. There's just a lot of repetitive colors. So you find a blue cap, there's a blue cap, and it's all bottle caps just stacked. And some are straight, some are on angles. There's a lot of these gold caps. Imagine trying to find these pieces and put this puzzle together. Not for me. Now this one I built. I like this one. Homeward Bound. Now, I don't think I built any of those other ones. If I have, then you'll see a picture pop up. 1,000-piece puzzle. It's a sailing vessel on the left and another one on the right. And then there's a town in the back with birds. I remember building it because I remember finding the birds. And this one had some other paperwork in it. Most of these did not because they got them from, I'm pretty sure, a thrift store. This one was nice because it had a second picture that you can use to study the pieces. And here's a little insert. What if puzzles? There's 11 what if puzzles. And then here's their little pamphlet. That was in some of the boxes. It kind of gives you information about their puzzles. All right, right, that stack is building up. There's only 3 more 1,000-piece puzzles that were complete. I'm going to show you all the incomplete ones and what we found. This one's from 2018. This one was called... What was this one called? It is... Oh, that's why I didn't write it on there. Malerisches, Schloss, and then Neuschwanstein, Neuschwanstein. I don't know what that is, but it's a very pretty puzzle. It's got a balloon, a huge castle, other balloons in the background, a cool sky with pinks, and lots of color on the bottom with forests like greens and reds. It's almost like a fall scene. That one was cool. Okay, this one I did not do. Italian Venedig. 1,000-piece puzzle from 2003. It's one of the older ones. Let's see, did they change the back? Yes, we've seen this back. So I bet you certain years they had this back, and other years they had that other back. This one did have a price sticker on it. I didn't have the mental wherewithal to do this sky. It's just all very similar. You got to look at a puzzle and say, all right, can I do this? There's a lot of water here. Once you get to the building, it'd be easy. This down here would be easier. This would be easier. The sky would definitely be a challenge. All right, this one here, 2006. This one is a landscape, a panorama. Still fits on the board that I'll show you. Actually, you know what? After this puzzle, I'm going to show you the actual board I built these on. So let me go do that. It does not fit here. We'll go over that. You can look at it, see what I bought. I did a lot of research on it. And this one's got a lot of water and a lot of sky. I just was not up for that. There was 25, almost 30 puzzles to go through. I'll have to get the total count when I'm done here. And some I built, some I did not. Some I had to do to find if the edges were there to count the edges so I knew how many pieces. And then, like the White Mountain, some of these got a little messed up in my storage bin. So I'm going to rework my storage on how I store these. All right, let's do this. Let's head off. I'll show you the puzzle board. All right, so this is the puzzle board that I showed a picture of earlier. This is too big to fit in my video booth. That's how big it is. Now, this is actually for 1,500 pieces. 1,000 pieces, and anything smaller for sure. Let me just get you the measurements now. This way you know what I'm talking about here. So this is 35, and then the inside is just under 33. Let's just say 33 and 3/8 would be enough safe space there for that, to get your puzzle in there. And then this one here, this top measurement without the handle is 26 3/4, maybe a little smaller. And then the inner dimension is 25 and about a half, just a little less than a half. So you would have to check your overall dimensions before you build a big puzzle to make sure it would fit. And the nice thing about this, there's 2 options. You have this where there's a Lazy Susan underneath, which I like, and you can spin it to the person on the other side of the table. And this puzzle here is a 1,000-piece puzzle, and we were counting it to make sure it had 1,000 pieces. So the border on this one is 28 by 36. So then do the math, and that'll tell you exactly how many pieces are in the box. And then we take all the pieces, count them, and then that gives you the total to make sure you know you have the right amount for this particular puzzle. And then I'll show this puzzle in a little more detail in the video booth. I'll take this all down here, and then, well, actually, let me do that. Let me take this off here since it's already been counted. I want to show you more of this puzzle board. Okay, so first and foremost, you get these extra little baskets, and they snap together to hold pieces, which is really nice. They come in handy when you're sorting a lot of colors. So you just snap them like that, and then you have 4 of those. Well, let me just snap them all together. These get used quite a bit, depending on how big the puzzle is and how intricate the background is. So if you have all yellow pieces, you can put them in these. If you have all blue pieces, or if you're just starting to sort out edges from the regular pieces. Okay, so you get 4 of those, and then you get the felt top. And then underneath this, I like building on the felt. There's also the dust cover, which I have underneath. So when your puzzle is built, you can set that on there. You put that on there, and then it'll be safe from things and dust and pets that want to climb on that. And then you can also build right on this plastic board like this. Now the pieces will slide more on this, and that might be an issue when you're using the feet, because this also has feet. So let me show you the bottom, and then I'll show you the drawers. All right, here's the bottom. It does have a nice handle to carry, and it's really, you put your dust cover on it when you're building, and you can slide it under a couch or a piece of furniture. But there's lots of rubber feet, so when it's just flat without the Lazy Susan, it holds it in place. And then you have these nice legs. It's all metal. I was reading the reviews on the wood ones, and a lot about flimsy and the wood splintering, just things that I didn't want to get involved with. But then this has a metal bar that runs across. It's all screwed in, nicely made. All right, let me flip it back over and I can show you the cool drawers. All right, so now it's at a perfect angle for sitting and building a puzzle. And when you have, I keep this underneath just so that it's stored there. If there's a puzzle on it, you can still pull that in and out. And then you put your felt on. And then the pieces do not slide. Let me throw some on here. So you saw that 1,000-piece puzzle. They'll stay. They kind of sit. And that 1,000-piece puzzle gives you room to actually put pieces on the side and the top so you can sort out colors that way. The angle's not enough where they completely move. And as you build it, it locks in place more and more besides these just single floating pieces here. But that's that. All right, let's check out the drawers. All right, so the drawers, there's 4, 2 on each side, and they're nice and big, and you can take these little trays out and hand them to people, sort pieces, build pieces on them, and then move them to the bigger bigger puzzle section. And then, so yeah, you get 4. The only thing that you have to be careful is if you try to move it, say I want to push it, pull it towards me, the legs will fold in, so there's no locking mechanism on that, so you got to be careful with that. All right, let me wrap it up. All right, there you go. A couple other things. When the puzzle is on there, it will still slide around, even though it has this friction from the felt. But if you're careful, you can even move the whole border around, just carefully moving, you know, top to bottom and side to side, and you'll get it all in the right place. And then I've not really used the Lazy Susan. I've just kept it at the angle. So when you're looking for a puzzle board, one, look for the feet, the legs, because it's nice to have it angled up. Look for the Lazy Susan. A lot of them do not have their drawers, which is a nice feature. And then some don't even come with the felt top, so you have to be scrutinize those listings. I got this on Amazon, so I'll put a link there, and you can check it out. All right, back to the video. All right, done with the 1,000-piece puzzles. Now we go to 1,500 pieces complete. That's the puzzle number, Skyline, New York City from 2013. Look at that. Pretty cool skyline there. I don't know the bridge. I don't know New York very well, so I don't know what angle this is. I kind of see, is this the moon or something poking through here? It's really bright right in that spot. And then you have the reflections on the water. Pretty cool, the pieces. Now these are double bagged because there's 500 more pieces than the last puzzle, and they don't fit in one bag. Same type of piece. No real changes there. There was one other 1,500-piece puzzle that was complete. This is the Spanish Steps in Rome from 2009. That's the number. Got some tape issues there. Blue, skyline, lots of pretty flowers here. This one would be tough to build because this side of the building, the street, or the stairway, and this side are very similar. So it'd be tough to do. They even have the lamp and the plants almost exactly the same, so it's almost a reverse. This one would be tough. Not my style. All right, then last 2 complete puzzles are 2,000-piece puzzles. Let's check those out. All right, this is a 2,000-piece puzzle. Not my style. New York City again. I'm not sure what this one's titled, but really bad tape issues. It's just titled New York City. And this one's 50 by 40. Now, I did not do the edge on this one. The next one I'll show you I did. And a little bit different background, I think. The year on this one, I don't know where my sticky tab went. It's making me nervous. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this one's definitely counted. 1995. It's one of the oldest puzzles in this collection. And then the bridge, same bridge as before. You do have the Twin Towers. That's the Twin Towers, right? So 1995. That's when. That's what it looked like way back when. All right, that's it. One more 2,000-piece puzzle. Let me grab it. Now this one, I for sure built the edge. So I can actually made a little video of this one showing you the process I went through. This was an interesting edge, but I felt it'd be easier edge than do this one. See, the edging on this one would be much more time consuming. So to count the edge, to build the edge, and then to count the pieces on this puzzle was easier because you can match up the people, the boats along the top. So this to me would be an easier 2,000 piece puzzle. This one, look, they paid $2.99 at Goodwill. Pier 39 from 2001, Alexander's World. Don't know much about Alexander. All right, so let's go check out the video I made of this. All right, so this was the puzzle I was telling you about. This is a 2,000 piece Ravensburger puzzle. Looks very cool. Something I would probably build. I like puzzles like this where you have a lot of variety in color, so it's easy to match up the pieces as opposed to, say, a background that's all blue. It's Pier 39 from 2001. So the first thing we do is build the edge. This way, one, you know you have all the edge pieces. I know the lighting is pretty bad because it's so gloomy out. That's why my phone was glowing. So once that's built, then you know, count the bottom row, count the right edge, and that gets 50 by 40. Now there's a couple oddities in this puzzle. One is right here where it's not flush, which is not common, but there were no other edge pieces. So let me show you the other side because it matches up. Okay, so here's the one I was saying that's on the opposite side. It's almost exactly across from the other one. So if it's a common thing, I'll know when I do another 2,000 piece puzzle, I'll build the edge maybe and see, so I can have that as a reference. Then we take all of the pieces, count them in piles of 25. And right now, it looks pretty cool. And it's 10 by 7. So that's how I do the math. 10 times 7 times 25. That's to start the math. And then you have a pile of 24 left over right there. And then there's 2 piles of 25 right there. So the math. Now let me show you my phone and then you see how I do the math. Okay, so that is the math. 10 times 7 times 25 plus 50, those are those 2 extra piles, plus 24 plus 50 plus 50, the two bottom and it's the bottom and top edging, and then 38 plus 38. You can't do 40 plus 40 because you don't want to double count the corners, and that equals 2,000. So the next puzzle I count, ooh, the lighting's terrible, will be another 2,000 piece puzzle, so I'll know it's 2,000 pieces. All right, back to the video booth. All right, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more puzzles which are incomplete. But this one was the last one I did. This was the one that was on the board that I showed you because I knew the pieces were 36 by 28, so I got that. That is 36 times 28, 1,008. So it's very similar to the Robinsburger puzzles. The pieces are similar too. Ooh, the sound again. I haven't been able to do this. Everything's been in bags. I took a little bit to build the edge on this one. It's, let's see, do they have a year? No year. It's called a landscape. Clementoni, 1,000 piece puzzle. There's some tape ripped off. It's called Tropical Idyll, I-D-Y-L-L. And they always give you the measurements in centimeters. So here it's 27 something by 19 something. And there's more tape here, which somebody put on and ripped off. So most of these puzzles I'm not going to sell. All right, so let's check out the ones I'm almost done that were incomplete. All right, this is another vertical landscape puzzle. So you would need a big table to build this on. It would probably fit on my puzzle board, but it's missing 2 pieces. So how do I know it's missing 2 pieces? Well, I already counted the 1,500 pieces earlier on those other puzzles, so I knew what the total would be on this one. There's just too much of the same color. And I guess I just do not have the time or the patience. The pieces are really nice quality. What was the year on this one? This is called Winterlikes no Schwanstein, 162192. I know, terrible pronunciation. 1992. Now, even though it's missing 2 pieces, that does not mean you can't make the pieces. Here, I'll show you on a puzzle that I started working on that. This one I built. I don't know why. I thought it was cool. The Curious Cupboard. And it's missing 2 pieces. And it's just got all these different weird characters. There's little dogs that pop up. This creepy character here, the little kid with the bottle of something. I don't know, he's brewing something up. And just odd things, a little pig floating around. Just imagine the most eclectic mix of stuff. Little yarn, pencils, a little doll popping up with a big round nose. Where's the dog? So see, there's a dog there. Little dog. There was more. It took a while to build this one. This is probably one of the harder ones to build. 1,000 pieces, missing 2 pieces. So this is what you do when you're missing pieces. You isolate the sections. Okay, you tape them with tape that easily removes off without ruining the pieces. And then you would take this on something, trace it, like a cardboard box from like a Crackers or something, a very thin cardboard, and layer it up. And then you would scan the box art, and you could fit that piece in there and cut it, and people can duplicate them to look very much like the piece that's there. The only difference would be the back. You wouldn't be able to get this back color. And there's companies you can actually send them this. They want 2 layers around, and you'd send them this with the picture of the box, and they will make the piece and cut it out professionally. And it's not cheap, so I did not want to do it. That one's incomplete by 2 pieces. All right, next one. Another 1,000 piece. This is missing 1 piece. And we got that by counting 1 broken piece. Never even attempted this one. There could be more missing, but I isolated the 1 piece. Looks like it got chewed. Once I saw that, this was actually the first puzzle I grabbed. Once I saw that, I said, okay. So we know at least 1 piece is bad. There could be more. Chewed up. It looks like another New York. This is number 192083. And it's Times Square from 2010, sorry. 1,000 piece, but I know it's 1,008. But I gave up on that one because of the situation with the pieces. All right, 3 more to go. This one we counted, and sadly, 2,000 piece puzzle is missing 3 pieces. Another New York with Statue of Liberty. This is 166381. It is called Las Vegas, New York Hotel. It's from 2002, another old puzzle. So hand counting a 2,000 piece puzzle does take time. Less than a half an hour, maybe a half an hour. 2 people. So basically, you saw that video where I showed you, put them in piles of 25. So I'll show you exactly how we counted these. So we take a handful, we do this. We go 12 rows. We count them like that. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, then we put 1 for the extra piece, and then we count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then carefully take your pile and move it, and then start another batch. And we'd continue on until they were all counted. We're confident, and we double count a lot of times just to make sure. So that's that. And then there's 2 more puzzles, but they're totally different brand puzzles. So I want to show those to you, a little bit different. Okay, so I had to build an edge on this to know what I was missing. So the edge got built on this puzzle. I have some pictures you might see popping in because I did take extra pictures of things. It looks like it was from a garage sale or something. It's an Educa, E-D-U-C-A, number 12025, Pont de los Langlos. It's a Van Gogh. There's no year. Maybe on the back. Well, that's about the puzzle. I don't see a year still. Here, they show you how, if you're missing a piece, I think. Yeah, as a matter of fact, let me look at the side of this box. Yes, they tell you. Count the row by the column. Match that number. What that number is, you're missing A6, B3. that's the piece you're missing. You'll be able to send in and get replacement pieces. These are actually nice pieces. I like this puzzle. But it's missing a piece. We found that out by doing the edge. So I know the edgicas are this. So if you're counting puzzles, that will help you. Really bad tape issues on this one. You could tell. Thrift store, Salvation Army. Let's just put a huge piece of tape on it. All right, let's move on to the last puzzle. Okay, so I built the edge on this one. Since it was an odd puzzle, 1,500 pieces, 30 by 50, I know the math, is actually 1,500. So that one matches up perfectly. But it's missing one piece. And we didn't just count them once. We would have put all these out, built the edge, and then do the stacks and count them 2, sometimes 3 times to make sure we weren't miscounting. But the odd thing is that this one's $14.99 and the other one was $9.99, right? It was 25 by 40. Both of them were that odd number. So unless they have 25 by 40, unless they have some weird pieces in there. See, the other one should have been 1,000 pieces, but it was $9.99. No, that could be complete. I didn't build it. That's the only ultimate way of knowing is to build. All right, let me wrap it up. All right, so I was trying to count the ones that were complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 puzzles from, let me see, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there was 19 puzzles that I bought for 30 bucks. I thought that was adequate. I didn't know at the time. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 missing pieces. But I didn't want to take the time to replace those pieces. You can, or you can just build it knowing it's missing a piece. It's a better feeling knowing that you're missing a piece than building a whole puzzle and finding out when you're almost done or you're getting that last piece. Where's the last piece? And then you're looking on the floor, you're looking in your clothes. So yeah, that's what I found. That's what I didn't want to run into. So that's why I did this counting method. It worked out pretty good, pretty accurate. Now you might see some other pictures pop up because I did take pictures here and there of different puzzles. I'll try to squeeze those in wherever you can. Hopefully you'll learn something about puzzles. I'll probably try to find more, see if this numbering system works on newer puzzles as I see them. And as always, thanks for watching. Later!
If you're looking for the item you just saw in the video, click here. Watch more videos by clicking here. Don't forget to share on social media and give a thumbs up.
Hey, LPS Dave.
What's up, Butch?
Make sure they don't forget to subscribe.
Oh yeah, please click here to subscribe to Lucky Penny Shop. And always remember, when you see a lucky penny,
Pick it up.